So, unless you've been living remotely in the wilderness for the past 5 years, which, if you have, I can absolutely say that was a great decision. Congratulations. Your life has also been impacted by the Trump administration. After falling second to her father in the media headlines as of late, Ivanka stirred things up with some legal action threatening a defamation suit. Seemingly triggered by billboards that were put up in Times Square featuring Ivanka and her husband, Jared, the couple's legal team took quickly to sending threats to the creators behind the billboards, a political action committee composed of Republicans and former Republicans who are against Trump, called the Lincoln Project. The Lincoln Project put together 2 billboards to display in the middle of hard hit from COVID in New York City. The billboards featured Ivanka and Jared, the dynamic duo, each sporting a message related to COVID-19 deaths in America. Ivanka's billboard showed her gesturing with a smile towards 2 giant number fingers, the amount of local deaths due to COVID and the amount of national deaths. Next to Ivanka, Jared's billboard featured a direct quote from a Vanity Fair article from this September by him stating, "New Yorkers are going to suffer, and that's their problem." The billboard also depicted what appears to be body bag cartoons in the bottom half below the quote to reinforce the message of the blatant negligence demonstrated towards controlling this pandemic, or lack thereof, by the Trump administration.
Have you been briefed by the CDC?
I have.
Are the words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
The United States on Thursday surpassed China and Italy as the country with the most coronavirus cases, according to a Reuters tally, with more than 81,300 confirmed infections.
This pandemic has finally torn back the curtain on the idea that so many of the folks in charge know what they're doing.
Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
Back to the story. Ivanka gets pissed. I mean, we're talking, "Daddy, I'm calling the lawyer," pissed. Her legal team acts fast, and the Lincoln Project receives the obligatory threatening letter, to which they tweet out to all of their followers and caption it, "Nuts." The letter threatens to sue the Lincoln Project unless it quote-unquote immediately takes down the ads, calling them fake, malicious, and defamatory. The lawyers insisted that the photos were taken out of context and placed next to strong statements that are, quote, "an outrageous, shameful libel." The Lincoln Project momentarily made fun of this on Twitter, and then, in kind terms, absolutely annihilated the Trump team in their own legal response. About a paragraph in, the Lincoln Project representing lawyer argued that Kushner and Trump are no longer, quote, "mere Upper East Side socialites that can sue at the slightest offense to their personal sensitivities," end quote. Okay, tell us how you really feel. The Lincoln Project continue on to note that Kushner and Trump are now public officials, and that the, quote, "placement of Mr. Kushner and Ms. Trump in these high-level White House offices has been disastrous for Americans everywhere, but it is also now devastating to your would-be lawsuit." Oh my God, it would have likely taken a cocktail on the receiving end to continue reading from that point onwards. They continue to argue that Americans have the right to criticize and talk about public officials freely, and cite a direct quote from the Supreme Court supporting the claim. The legal team also claps back to the threatening claim that, quote, "Mr. Kushner never made any such statement, and Ms. Trump never made any such gesture," end quote, by responding that the billboards are, quote, "entirely accurate," end quote, citing receipts from Vanity Fair, who recorded Kushner's statement, and Ivanka's own selfie that she had posted to her own Twitter, making the very same gesturing motion that was seen on the billboard photos. It's funny what Photoshop can do when you have the content handed to you. The note ends with a warm reminder that, quote, "this isn't over," end quote, and that the Trump legal team can expect to hear more soon. God, no wonder there aren't any new productions popping up on E! Entertainment. 2020 really is free reality television. That's the latest on the case, and the Lincoln Project reassures us that we can expect updates, as they won't cease until the Trump administration departs office on January 20th, 2021. I personally will be drinking a lot of tequila on that day. Thanks for tuning in. Mask up and stay safe.
That's all, folks.